Hello, welcome. How's everyone doing today? We are playing Magpie's harmless card game. And pretty much by the title alone, we already know that this is gonna be anything but harmless. But are you ready to chat? Ready with Blitzies?
Here's a good cow.
I am here. God damn it. Anywho, let's play. Three. Alright. Okay. You should sell. Alright, damn it. Alright. Don't. Alright. Now I run until this explodes. You scare me. Okay, chat, we gonna need to be more careful about this. I generally don't know what to choose. Okay. Thank you, Vinny, for the follow. Welcome. How are you doing today? Okay, I'm not the best at card games, but we'll see. So, like, is this like a combination of a matching game plus Minesweeper? Okay. Alright. Please don't. Please don't. Chad, I'm scared. I'm scared. What are you gonna do if I actually get one more Jerry? Yeah, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. Alright, how do I sell? Alright, so that was useful. Okay. I have a strategy, chat. We use the hints on the board, but if we lose our two shields, we have to give in. Alright. Alright.
Me.
Didn't know that, so we have to be more careful. Bitch. Bitch. Damn it. Let's restart. Thank you, Casa, for following. Welcome. I'm playing Magpie. Magpie's harmless card game. It's real harmless, isn't it? So, what I can gather, it's basically, it takes the concept of magic game, and then the concept of, it takes both the concept of the magic game and the concept of Minesweeper, and combines it and just adds a horror element on top of it. I mean, it's not really much horror. This is creepy as fuck. I mean, the only thing that happens if you fail is just he pulls out a gun and shoots you, and that's it. That's the quote-unquote horror. Don't do that. I'm gonna punch you in the face. Shit. No, I haven't.
Me.
Break room. Get more around until it's exploding shit. Is there wishes on Steam? Hold on real quick. I want to see it's on Steam. So it's not even, there's not a listing? Yeah, the listing is to be announced. You can't put it on, you can't even put it on your wish list yet. Okay. We gotta at least try to win this. Exactly 2 generations in this row. Oh my god. Fuck. Alright. You gotta... what do I choose? I don't even know what this does. Damn it. Yeah, I wanted to see. You know what should be even more tomfuckery is, like, saying the one that the previous game says 0 jars on this, or this says 2 jars in this, or like, wait, what? Okay. I mean, I'm in the mindset of Minesweeper because this was. It kind of feels like I have to play this card game. It's not really like. It's like Minesweeper, but for cards, but that you don't die and you don't game over immediately. Damn it. Alright. I gotta at least win this once. Hey Chris, how are you? Alright, From like this angle, should I go left or right, chat? What should I do? What should I do? Oh, fuck. Ooh, cool. How was it? want to see what happens when this explodes. But I want to at least try.
Me.
Oh shit. Seriously, is that an actual explosion? Oh, that's good. Left. Alright. You actually try. Damn it. God damn it. Alright. Fuck. Alright. Oh, I didn't know that. let's see here. I can't just paint it. Water real quick. Okay. Shit though. Alright. Oh, does it like... What is this shred? Oh, it cost $30. What the fuck? Oh. I wish there's a whole lot of storage in this. What if this version here? What if this was actually a suit? And whoever the guys in it pretty much kidnapped us and forced us to make $999 to leave? Imagine that. Okay. Damn it. Alright. From the eye, chat, let's see. From the eye here, should I go up or left? Shit. Wait, either way. Either way, it's like a 50-50 chance it will actually flip a cherry. Shit. Okay. Damn it. shit. Honestly, this game is good. I know, this is just a beta. Alright, now, what's missing is a story and stakes. But anywho, we're gonna be moving on to, what's in? We're gonna be moving on to Sonic's Dream Collection. Anyway, intermittent. Alright chat, we're gonna move on to Sonic Dream Collection. I'm gonna quickly switch the tag. Close enough. Alright. Okay, there we go. It's not getting no one killing my ears. Ready?
My jewels collection.
It's still kind of killing my ears. There we go.
My jewels collection. My
Yep. Okay, this is funny. Alright. Gonna do that.
My jewels collection.
Alright, chat, ready?
Let's dress up.
Oh my god. Oh man. It was part of the head girl. Emil the Hedgehog, Cookie the Hedgehog, Dragon Golem, Sonia the King, Golden Adoptional Gifting. What the fuck? Fan Shadow the Shimmer Glimpse the Hedgehog, Stephanie the Hedgehog Bird, and Breezy the Hedgehog. She reprinted the Hedgehog Metal Line. Oh my god. I promise I'm normal. Hi Ark, how are you? Hi Ark, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Buff Junior the Hedgehog, Cynic the Hedgehog. Yeah, Stacy the Hedgehog. Oh my god. You saw a hedgehog. Yeah. Oh my god. They're good and tired. How are you? How's your day? The day was okay. Lecture Cyborg the Hedgie. The fuck? No, we're not doing that. Night Layer the Hedgehog, yeah, I would do that. Oh, wait. Lol. Why can't I make it? Oh god. Lol, perfect.
This is my favorite story.
Network adapter connected.
Let's make a movie.
God. Make a Sonic Movie Maker. Very much. Alright. What's going on? Oh no. I don't know what I'm doing here. In fact, orange is white. Oh god. Well, that is ominous. Chat. Yeah, I'm scared. I can't even see. What the fuck? Oh no. Don't tell me this is. Jesus Christ, Sonic. Where's the camera at? I don't want to be here anymore. Oh god. The pregnant jokes. Where's the... Oh, Jesus Christ. Did I miss anything?
Hurry! We're running out of time! It's moving!
Well, I...
Got it! Hurry! We're running out of time!
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh god. We're in... Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. What the? Jesus Christ. Blaze tails, what the fuck? Like someone's fucking fever dream. Hmm? Thank you, Dark Rose, for following. Welcome. How are you?
Come back to my place.
Oh, what the fuck is this? Jesus Christ. Bitch, what the fuck? Half shield mode. Why did... Hold on.
Come back to my place.
Jesus Christ. How would it even... What the fuck? Okay, I can't get that completed. Okay, but... What the fuck? Okay. Okay, that was weird and a half. Yeah, that was weird and a half. What we can do, well, I do have like the reschedule for hit Carcelo and Sonic generations. Well, we're gonna be starting generation next stream. I do have that for coming up on next week. Oh, technically the week coming up is. What we can do. I do want to show off one thing as well. See here. And this is technically Minecraft. Not really. Like, you stay with me here. What I'm gonna do is I got any control for this.
Here's a good cow.
I am rare. Yeah, I'm gonna need control for this. Because what we're gonna do. Alright. Alright. There you go. Yes, it is the one and only. This is the PC port, the PC decompilation of Minecraft, of the Minecraft Legacy console. I want to see this in its original form. Ooh. Oh, I think this is super cool. Because I don't know the Xbox One legacy the Xbox One edition for or Minecraft. Also, I'm obviously the orb. Hmm? Oh, thank you, Yobo, for following. Welcome. How are you doing today? We're exploring the long lost, or not really long lost, but this is the is the legacy console. Let me make sure it's also, also. All right. Stream looks so far so good. All right. Also, you can also play the controller with the keyboard, but since this is like a console, we gotta play the controller. You can't wait. All right. Oh my god. I remember before Bedrock was on the Xbox on Legacy console. Pretty much. We got the all development mode is enabled right here. Because why not? Ooh. Oh, see, it used to be simpler time back on the legacy console days. And the old fall damage sound. The old damage sound, really. Also, I can change skins on the fly. Honestly, I like this a lot. Or the old days of, yeah, of moving stuff. Ooh. Alright, alright. Oh yeah, I should also mention why I took such a long break from stream. And it's supposed to be like a few days. One, I got addicted to a game that a certain fame told me or introduced me to. Here we go. But pretty much, so this is like, like I got the news like way after my therapy appointment. So, they pretty much, this is so personal to me. And honestly, I should like be transparent about this. But like, one of my found brothers, recently had passed away, and I just needed. I didn't want to, just make it public. I didn't really feel like that was right. You honestly care about his privacy a lot. So it only makes sense to pretty much keep most of the details private. But like, yeah. Let's just say you've been dealing with a lot, and you can just infer the rest. But yeah. You got scared preemptively. But yeah, I've been dealing with that for the past week. I'm happy I have friends who are there for me. I just like, I try to be more uh, uplifting, and yeah, all this making I'm myself still dealing with it. Yeah. If y'all have, obviously I won't be answering any questions, like, hope y'all can understand that. Anywho, let's get back to our regular scheduled stream. I want to say that for anyone who's currently dealing with immense loss of any kind, I want to tell you that this simply isn't the end, really. There will always be a brighter light at the end of every turn. Or shall I say, you must enter dim or dark hallways in order to find the lit ones. Opposite of what Lightning McQueen says, the track's not gonna always be lit. Oof. Jesus Christ. Honestly, I've shown enough of this game. Alright. Alright, chat, let me switch.
Here's a good cow.
I am. We're gonna be, for the next 2 hours, they're gonna be doing some YouTube reactions. Alright, there we go. But yeah. There's gonna
I accidentally unplugged the mic. Alright. But yeah, I want to say that there is going to be dark moments in life, but don't let those dark moments define your life. Alright?
even if it seems silly or ridiculous to even think about in the moment, it still rings true. All right.
Ta-da!
All right. All right. All right. Mm. All right. All right. Here we go, chat. We all obviously seen this one coming. Meow. Alrighty. Meow. Huh? Hi Micro, welcome. How are you doing today? Thank you for following. My name is Brandon, what's a variety streamer. I stream lots of video game chat, suggest me as well as a draw art, and hopefully I'll be doing 3D modeling for everyone here. Welcome. How are you doing today? Welcome to Blitzy.
So it's official, iPhone ID age verification is here, and every single iPhone now in the UK is going to be having age verification be mandatory. For those of you guys are saying,
If it's gonna be in the UK, it's obviously going to be mandated in the US at some point. Or not even just in the US, and then globally.
and oh, it's in the UK, I don't have to worry about it. It's not in my region. Vegeta, talk to them real quick.
You are a fool!
All age verification that's been pushed
You're
recently
a
started in the
fool.
UK, and now it is all over the world. So please don't breathe a sigh of relief because it's only in the UK. It will spread to your country or state eventually. But anyways, with iOS 26.4, Apple has turned every iPhone in the UK into an identity checkpoint. Since their March 24th update, it requires all UK users to confirm they are 18 or older before accessing certain features and services on their Apple account. UK communications regulator Ofcom called it a real win for children and families. My God, I hate you guys so much. The infrastructure being built is more of a problem than that framing suggests. Apple has, without warning, placed a gatekeeper on the devices of 35 million UK users who paid good money for full-featured smartphones and now find themselves holding something closer to a supervised children's tablet. Again, if you think this won't come to your country or state, pretty much every single country and state in the world either already has age verification or they're considering it heavily. And with Apple, it's pretty interesting because Apple has given us a roller coaster of emotions in terms of the battle of age verification. So at first, about 5-ish months ago, it was announced that iPhones are going to be having ID age verification because some states in the United States either already passed laws or will be passing laws basically mandating ID age verification for app stores on Apple and Google. Now, the thing that gave everybody hope was that Apple Apple was actually very against this. Apple was saying that there should not be ID age verification on Apple because iPhone products actually do have parental controls already implemented into the devices themselves. So why would they have ID age verification? That resulted in the Apple CEO Tim Cook actually going over to the United States government buildings and actually having a conference with them, basically stating, why would we have ID age verification? We already have parental checks and stuff on our platforms. We already make sure the kids on our platforms are safe. Well, it looks like Tim Cook failed because Apple is going to be having to do ID age verification, especially in the UK, as well as several
Jesus
states in the United
Christ.
States, because those laws actually passed here as well. So then about a month ago, it became official that a bunch of countries around the world, like the United States, Brazil, Australia, and Singapore, are going to be having ID age verification on Apple iPhones for apps that are rated above.
I mean, Jesus Christ, sorry in the United States, I didn't even know about that, but pretty much. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Of 18. So people started seeing this message all around the world, especially in the UK, saying you need to confirm that you're 18 plus to update your restrictions. And if you confirm later, you will not be able to download and purchase apps or make in-app purchases until you confirm you're 18. Yes, you read that correctly. You cannot download an app on the iPhone unless you hand over an ID or an AI.
Look, at this point, I would try to find a, like, I don't know, any compatible any phone that's compatible with Graphene OS and Lineage OS. Buy for dirt cheap on eBay. If it needs to be refurbished, like get like a help from a friend or something like that, and then like put on Lineage Graphene or Lineage OS on it. And then, but I already know that the world government is going to try to enforce that onto these niche operating systems. So I mean, you know, Linux from scratch, we pretty much need Android from scratch. Say fuck you UK, fuck you world governments. We're having Android from scratch, and y'all can fuck off. I mean, we could have like, wouldn't that be still Linux from scratch just for mobile? Like, what would it technically be called?
Facial scan. So, you know, I figured, or at least I hoped, it was kind of wishful thinking. I figured that Apple, with their $1 trillion+ would.
Hi Fame, how are you? Red, Arcearch, look, it's the one, the only, the Fame. And Fame's the cutie. No, Fame, get back here, get back here, Fame. Get back here, Fame. I'm not done with you. You're cute. Grabs Fame. Fame, you've been grabbed. Fame. No, you're sitting down here. And you're listening to every compliment you're gonna get, and all compliments are true to you. I got game to work on. I mean, yes, you got game to work on, but you can still like at least listen to the stream while you're working in game. I mean, I have other mods here to look out to look out for you, or to babysit you. Anywho, I'm gonna go grab some water real quick. Everyone watch Fame. Make sure he doesn't walk sneak off. Alright, be right back.
Be able to fight against this, but instead the laws got passed. Apple did nothing about it, and now we have to have ID age verification on Apple, which is very, very unfortunate. So remember, you know, as Reclaim the Net points out, you buy an iPhone and you want to use apps on the iPhone. You paid your hard-earned money to get an iPhone or any other Apple product, and now after the fact, after you've already paid for the device, and while you paid for it, there was never any indication of ID age verification. Now if you live in the UK, you just have to hand over your personal data, otherwise you can't use the functionality of the thing that you paid like $1,000 for. I don't know how the UK hasn't like overthrown their government yet, because it is just insane what is going on over there. And just like literally all of ID age verification throughout the last year or two, it always starts off in the UK. So I do expect this to spread all across the world. I'm sure a bunch of other countries are going to be like, well, not only did the UK pass a law talking about ID age verification on Apple, but they've actually implemented it. So once again, 35 million people that use iPhones in the UK. So right after you download that Apple update, the verification prompt appears immediately after the update installs. So the Apple checks whether your account already has a credit card linked or whether the account has existed long enough to establish you as an adult. Obviously, they're probably going to be using AI to do that, just as YouTube does, just as Discord does. And for many existing users, the process is essentially automatic. For everyone else, the options narrow quickly: link a credit card, scan a government-issued photo ID, or accept that your account defaults to teen restrictions with Apple's web content filter and communication safety features switched on across all browsers and messaging apps and FaceTime, monitoring communications. Yep, being monitored. And in the UK specifically, it is suggested that you can't download any apps at all unless you go ahead and verify your age. So all of these options suck, and I wouldn't want to hand over any type of information, but out of these...
No, Ren! Fame snuck off! No! No, the fame snuck off! Oh no! Alright. I'm back.
3 options, the safest one would be to link a credit card. For people who have made any in-app purchases in Apple or iPhone or whatever, they kind of already have your credit card information, so that would be the safest one. But honestly, not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody pays for in-app purchases on an iPhone anyways, and they shouldn't be forced to just to go ahead and download some apps or use the functionality of the thing that they've already paid for. So if you decide to not go ahead and send over any sort of ID or information,
Jesus Fame and makes him stay. Yep, let's tie Fame to a chair and make him stay.
the web content filter blocks websites Apple classifies as explicit, operating across Safari and third-party browsers alike. Communication safety scans incoming and outgoing images and videos for nudity. Both activate silently for anyone who hasn't cleared the adult threshold, skip verification, or lack a credit card and a government ID, and Apple decides what you're allowed to see. Users without a credit card or government ID have no other path. Reports from the UK users confirm it. Scan the card, upload the ID, or live with restricted access. The system does not offer alternative. And Ofcom made a dumbass statement like they do. Man, you guys already know I hate Ofcom so much. Where they praised the rollout, saying that it had coordinated extensively with Apple and others on age assurance under the Online Safety Act. Apple's decision that the UK will be one of the first countries in the world to receive new child safety protections on devices is a real win for children and families. No, assholes, it's a real loss for everybody, because now you guys have promoted mass surveillance and the mass collection of biometric data just so people can use basic services in your country like an iPhone. We've worked closely with Apple and other services to ensure they can be applied in a variety of contexts in order to ensure users are protected. This will build on... Oh my god, man. These guys just piss me off every time they talk. And this is the part that makes me disappointed with Apple, right? And this is the part where I feel like they switched up on us, because initially it seemed like they were trying to fight against this. Notably, Apple wasn't legally required to do this. The Online Safety Act's age verification obligation apply to platforms and adult content sites, not to device operating systems or app stores. Apple chose to go further, and Ofcom chose to celebrate it. And because of laws like this and the UK's Online Safety Act crap, VPN usage spiked dramatically when the Online Safety Act came into force, where tons of different VPNs, like it wasn't even just the same one, tons of different VPNs were reporting like 1,000% or 1,400% increase in just the first few days of the laws being enforced. And as Reclaim the Net reiterates what I was saying earlier, don't be happy because it's just happening in the UK and nowhere else. Especially if you live in the United States like me, be careful, because this stuff is coming over here. Utah, Texas, California are all either already passed an App Store age verification law, or they are considering it heavily. So I don't care if I keep repeating myself, because I cannot stress this enough. Do not think that you are safe because there is no Apple age verification in your area yet. The keyword is yet. And so, like always with these videos, I'm always going to try to include a call of action. Basically, what you guys should do is go to badinternetbills.com. Before, I have promoted a website called NetChoice, as you guys know, because they've been fighting a lot of ID age verification laws across the United States. But again, they have been partnered with Meta, and they still are, despite the fact that Meta has been revealed to be lobbying all these ID age verification laws. And NetChoice still has not given me an answer on why they are still partnered with them. So I'm going to actually promote a different website, badinternetbills.com, where they actually have all these different types of online age verification laws that are going on right now, specifically for this video that you guys are watching right now.
The tech industry is currently in a state of absolute unprecedented shock. For the last 2 years, we have massively been told by billionaires, tech CEOs, and venture capitalists that artificial intelligence was going to completely like replace human creativity, wipe out the whole entertainment industry, and also generate entirely new digital realities with a simple click of a button. The undisputed crown jewel of this entire process was Sora, the highly experimental and heavily marketed video AI generator app built by OpenAI. We were told that human resistance was pretty much futile, and we were told that we just need to accept the new reality of the AI generator.
Obviously, we didn't.
But as of just a few days ago, that entire narrative has completely fallen flat and just collapsed. Because in one of the most humiliating, abrupt, events in tech history and in modern Silicon Valley, OpenAI officially pulled the plug on the Sora app, pretty much with little to no warning to the actual creators. And I believe there's a sunset period, but it's pretty abrupt what they did, and it pretty much completely wiped their flagship consumer video product off the map. And the AI bubble, the massive hype train that has ruthlessly been dominating the internet since 2024, has finally kind of popped. And this wasn't just a planned transition or a quiet corporate rebrand. This was an entire absolute emergency shutdown forced by a catastrophic collision of unsustainable server costs, also massive legal threats, and a community that flat out refused to accept the slop. To truly understand the massive scale of this failure, you do have to look at the absolute golden mine OpenAI actually thought they were sitting on. So just a few short months ago, OpenAI secured what was supposed to be the ultimate mainstream victory, a historic $1 billion licensing deal with the Walt Disney Company. The plan was terrifyingly simple, and it was designed to pretty much change the internet forever. OpenAI was going to let users generate videos using the likeness of iconic Disney, Marvel, I think Star Wars characters, completely bypassing actual human artists, writers, and animators.
And also, it fucking sucks that the animators, writers, storyboarders, they all don't have a say in these corpos. They work for a corporation. They don't own the products. They don't own the things they make. That's why I prefer to be indie. I can own the things I make.
They wanted to turn our childhood memories into an automated, lifeless content farm. It was the ultimate corporate synergy, a dystopian nightmare where the biggest entertainment monopoly on the planet teamed up with the most aggressive tech monopoly to flood the internet with generated quite simply garbage. But the executives in those boardrooms vastly underestimated the massive, overwhelming pushback from the actual internet. The exact moment the Sora 2 generation started flooding our social media feeds and reels and stuff like that, it was met with pretty big pushback. The creators, artists, and also gamers banded together to violently reject the slop, highlighting the factors and the horrifying physics, stolen intellectual property, and also the complete lack of human soul in the videos themselves. The absolute turning point in this entire disaster was when the massive copyright lawsuits finally started piling up on Sam Altman's desk. OpenAI's entire underlying business model fundamentally relies on scraping the internet without permission, taking the hard work of millions of independent artists and also feeding it into their machine to spit out a commercial product. But when you start to mess with actual professional industries and also legacy Hollywood, well, that right there is kind of a recipe for disaster, and the legal shooting completely falls apart. The Japan Commercial Broadcasters Association actively stepped up and warned that the unchecked use of anime IPs was actively destroying their content production culture. Major entertainment unions SAG,
Oh, who's it? Hi, Lisa Sparks. Hey, Sparks, how are you? Welcome. How are you doing?
Went on the absolute offensive against the uncompensated appropriation of their members voices and likeness. Suddenly the Walt Disney Company realized that they pretty much tied their pristine family friendly brand to a radioactive legal nightmare. When the heat got too high, Disney panicked, And in a massive humiliating blow to the executives at OpenAI, Disney officially backed out of the $1 billion deal. A Disney spokesperson released a highly sanitized corporate statement.
Call me Bluffy? Bluffy? Or do you want me to insult you by calling you Bluey? I say, hey Bluffy, how are you?
About respecting OpenAI's decision to exit the video business. But the undeniable reality here is just that Disney they just ran away from the deal. The biggest corporate endorsement of AI video in history evaporated overnight.
Bluffy. Ooh. Okay.
What a terrifying legal nightmare was only half of the issue here, because the real reason OpenAI had to publicly execute their most hyped product in broad daylight comes down to pure unfiltered corporate greed and harsh financial reality. Behind the scenes, the physical server infrastructure required to generate this AI video slop was completely and utterly unsustainable. Industry insiders recently reported that OpenAI was burning through roughly, I think it was $15 million every single day just in raw compute costs to keep the Sora servers running. They were hemorrhaging cash at an absolutely alarming rate, all to produce videos that the vast majority of the internet openly despise and also mock. As OpenAI desperately prepares for a highly anticipated initial public offering, they are scrambling.
How's your day been? Also, it's good. This is a good thing that OpenAI is now having a reality check. I wish it was sooner, but at least it's better late than never.
To clean up their financials to look profitable, of course, to Wall Street investors. You simply cannot convince traditional investors to hand over billions of dollars when your flagship consumer application is, bleeding $15 million a day and actively drawing subpoenas from major global media conglomerates. Sora wasn't just a failed social experiment. More so, it was a massive, financial anchor dragging down OpenAI with it into the abyss. The absolute hypocrisy of OpenAI's current public relations strategy, right now, is staggering to watch. They're desperately trying to frame this massive public defeat as a calculated strategic shift. They want the general public to believe that they are simply reallocating their brilliant resources to enterprise solutions and also robotics, because their technology is just too advanced for the consumer market. But we know exactly what this is. This is a massive tech conglomerate violently waving the white flag because the community utterly rejected their dystopian vision of the future. The out-of-touch tech bros in Silicon Valley genuinely believed that they could force feed us AI-generated content and that we would just passively, quietly consume it. They arrogantly thought the sheer convenience of a text prompt would actually override the fundamental human desire for actual authentic art and real entertainment. They fundamentally misunderstood the internet. When you try and replace human passion with a cold scraping algorithm, the culture will always push back. The sudden shutdown of Sora is the ultimate undeniable proof that users still hold the absolute power. We refuse to engage with the slop. We definitely mock them, all the weirdness with Sora, and we aggressively fought for the creators who actually make platforms worth visiting. That's the whole thing. The era of the AI hype train running completely unchecked across the internet and the world is officially over. The executives at OpenAI genuinely thought that they were completely untouchable, but they flew way too close to the sun. They tried to monopolize human creativity. They tried to buy off the legacy media industry, and they completely failed on every single front. The $1 billion Disney deal is dead. The $15 million
Well, it only took 2 years, but we're finally doing it. The first level.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
Hot content of Pillar of
Despite this
Autumn.
being a relatively smaller part of the game, taking place exclusively aboard the Pillar of Autumn, it's still one of the most significant, the player's very first impression of a brand new title. Remember, this game came out way back in 2001. Things were different back then. The Xbox had just launched with a lineup of brand new IPs, and among them was a back then. The Xbox had just launched with a lineup of brand
And the old school Duke controller. This thing was fat as fuck to the point that people with small hands couldn't hold the control properly. And it tanked Xbox sales a bit. So they had to re-release a new controller which is called the S controller. Or they call it the Eskimo controller. I just joined here, thought you were saying playing game doing, but you were just watching video. Yeah, I was playing a few games really. I was playing a few games. So pretty much I played Magpie, this harmless card game, the playtest, and so far, as a current demo, it's decent. Yes, I wish there was more to it, but like. As it is, it's a good first impression for a demo. I do hope they add more to it. And I played Sonic Dreams Collection, which that was a weird fever dream and a half. And for the next 2 hours, pretty much, I want to see what I can react to and put out for like reaction videos on my YouTube channel.
New IPs, and among them was a snazzy looking first-person shooter. At this time, Halo wasn't the franchise it is today. You know, in hospice. So that first impression is essential, which brings with it lots of experimentation. Everything from cutscenes to dialogue to the tutorial sections to even acquiring your first weapon, it all went through multiple iterations. It's a level just bristling with lost potential, and I'm excited to guide you through it. This is Halo CE Restored, a video series and mod that aims to dig into the depths of Halo to find and restore the concepts that never were. Everything from code to sound bites to beta builds, it's all on the table here. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the cut content in Pillar of Autumn.
Ooh, I wanted to check this out.
This cutscene is awesome. As a first-time player, if this doesn't suck you in, get you excited about this world, this universe, I don't even know. Who hurt you? Looking into the scripting for this specific cutscene, there's actually a couple unused functions here called Battle Start and Battle Stop. These functions would create, activate, and subsequently destroy a series of objects called X10 Battle, X10 being the code name for this opening cutscene. Digging a little deeper into the cutscene data itself, we can then find these X10 battle objects, and it turns out
what?
Deeper into the cutscene X10 battle. Activate, activate, and substance here hurt you. Looking into the scripting for this specific cutscene, there's actually a couple unused functions here called Battle Start and Battle Stop. These functions would create, activate, and subsequently destroy a series of objects called X10 Battle, X10 being the code name for this opening cutscene. Digging a little deeper into the cutscene data itself, we can then find these X10 battle objects, and it turns out
Oh, come on.
deeper into the
What the fuck? What's going on? is... Oh, hold the fuck up.
Well, well.
Jesus Christ. Well, we have with this one.
The twins are 6 months old now, growing faster than seems possible. And already Anakin can feel their presence in the Force, bright and curious and full of potential. He holds them close, breathing in their scent, letting their warmth wash away the darkness he encountered on Mandalore. You did it. Padme's voice is soft.
God damn it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it just seems like things keep getting more expensive. You know, I didn't expect to kind of make this video, but I saw this thing from PlayStation starting April 2nd, 2026.
It's... Hold on. Oh, what the fuck happened here? Hold on, did everything just reset? Yeah, everything did reset. What the fuck? Oh, there's an ad starting in... Yep. Ad's gonna be starting soon. We're gonna take a break while the ad is playing for Twitch, and we're gonna find something to do. Also, we could watch the Star Wars video while ad is playing. Alright, chat, but I hope you enjoy the ads. Alright. Alright, the Twitch ad just started. We're gonna watch the Star Wars video, and then as soon as it ends, I'm gonna go back to the Halo content.
I saw the reports. You saved them. I did what needed to be done. Nothing more. She studies his face, seeing something there that worries her. Anakin, what's wrong? He's silent for a
Lol,
long...
my internet went to another country. Honestly, real. Technically, doesn't your internet just belong to another country by definition? I mean, the internet really just... You think the internet belongs to people, but no. Unfortunately, the internet belongs to the government. And they can mandate what gets seen or not.
Moment. When I had Maul beaten, I wanted to kill him. Not because it was necessary. Not because he was a threat. I wanted him dead because of what he represented, because of what he reminded me of, what I could have become. But you didn't. No. But the wanting was still there. What does that make me? Padme takes his face in her hands, forcing him to meet her eyes. It makes you human, Anakin. The Jedi tried to teach you that emotion was the enemy, that desire was darkness, that you had to be perfect or you were fallen. But that's not true. What matters isn't what you feel, it's what you do. And you did the right thing. You felt the darkness and you chose the light anyway. That's not weakness, that's the greatest strength there is. He pulls her close, the twins between them, and allows himself to believe her. In the years that follow, Anakin Skywalker becomes something the galaxy has never seen. Not a Anakin Skywalker allows himself to believe her. In the year, not a Jedi bound by a code he never truly believed in. Not a Sith consumed by hatred and the lust for power. Something new, something in between. Something the galaxy desperately needs. He operates from a base on Naboo, close enough to Coruscant to stay connected to the political world Padme navigates, far enough away to maintain his independence. The estate overlooks the lake where they were married, a place of peace and beauty where their children can grow up without the weight of prophecy or expectation. But it's also a training ground, a place where those who seek a different path with the Force can learn. He trains Luke and Leia as they grow, teaching them to use the Force in ways that would horrify the traditional Jedi. Feel your emotions, he tells them. Don't suppress them. Don't pretend they don't exist. Anger, love, fear, joy, they're all part of who you are. The Force isn't about cutting yourself off from life. It's about embracing it fully and completely. But don't let your emotions control you. Feel them. Acknowledge them, and then choose how to act. That's the difference between mastery and slavery. The twins are natural prodigies, inheriting their father's connection to the Force and their mother's keen intelligence. By the time they're 10, they can move objects with their minds, sense emotions from across a room, and hold their own in lightsaber.
Also, yay! Blitzies are back. Meow.
About this world, this universe. I don't even know. Who hurt you? Looking into the scripting for this specific cutscene, there's actually a couple unused functions here called Battle Start and Battle Stop. These functions would create, activate, and subsequently destroy a series of objects called X10 Battle, X10 being the code name for this opening cutscene. Digging a little deeper into the cutscene data itself, we can then find these X10 Battle objects, and it turns out they're just a bunch of space explosions close by to the Pillar of Autumn. But that's not all I found. Directly nearby to these explosions, we also have some unused camera positions, such as Dogfight 1, a dogfight being the nickname for a close-range aerial battle between two fighter jets. In other words, this is all very clearly a cut space battle segment, which is freaking awesome. I have to assume this battle would
Obviously, they brought back in Halo Reach.
involve those longsword fighters we see during that opening camera pan. Perhaps there were to be some Covenant recon jets that Bungie would have them battling with. Unfortunately though, I couldn't find any references to such Covenant ships anywhere in the game data. They had to exist at some point though, I reckon, which is really unfortunate. This unused space battle scene does fit rather nicely with the conversation between Cortana and Keyes as well. Cortana directly references it.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious.
Unfortunately though, this skirmish is only talked about in passing as Keyes returns back to the center console. I'm guessing the space battle was cut because it would have slowed the cutscene's pacing too dramatically. Or perhaps Bungie just figured, this is good enough, the game releases in a month, let's not do an overcomplicated space battle scene where every single individual ship within it has to be piloted manually with a controller with dog shit controls. Maybe they just didn't want to do that. I certainly don't. For the restoration,
I
I
certainly
wanted to
wouldn't wanna
strike
do
a
that.
balance between these two approaches. Have a cool space shot with the longsword fighters, but do it in a way to preserve the original cutscene's pacing. And also my own sanity, which has been rapidly deteriorating. So I opted for simplicity here. A quick switch to show a fighter rushing out towards an ongoing battle you can see in the distance. Here's how it looks in context.
They were waiting for us on the far side of the planet.
Balls?
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now. Nothing serious. But I've isolated approach signatures for multiple CCS class.
The pacing, at least for me, still feels rock solid, and seeing the cool spikes flying out towards the cool spikes, it's cool. Moving on, I now want to reference the CE developer commentary talking about the next part of this opening cutscene.
Stern master. You know what I just realized about
Does this Warthog still crash when it goes off frame?
It does. Okay, listen to it. It's going to crash as it goes off scene.
Wait. No, I think it's the one that comes after this one. Yeah, this was the moment where, wait for the crash.
Damn right I am.
Here it goes.
Double time.
It's going to go behind.
Oh, looks like somebody fixed that bug, Marty O'Donnell.
You know what? We did do that.
But I think this was the moment we all realized that Sergeant Johnson
Here it is.
was going
Here
to
it is. This one's going to crash. Listen for it.
So apparently one of the warthogs in this cutscene crashes into a wall off screen, and on certain game versions you can actually hear it.
Now move it out. Double time.
Fortunately, I also have a handy dandy free camera tool I like to use, so I can see all sorts of fun stuff. Like the fact that Johnson is also driving the Warthog. Like there's two of them. It also lets me see the actual crash. And finally, we have a small piece of cut dialogue in the third and final part of this opening cutscene. This is the section where our big green cyborg hero is finally introduced for the very first time. And as it turns out, one of our crewmen here, Sam, he has a bit more to say about him. First, recall this line from the base game. Sam, he has a bit more to say about him. First, recall this line from the base game.
Okay, bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds.
What if I told you that's not his original line? Here's his actual full dialogue.
Okay, bringing low-level systems online. His vitals look good. Cracking the case in 30 seconds.
I'm guessing the reason this was cut is because it's an almost exact duplicate of another line you'd hear while you're in the cryotube.
Okay.
Normal. No freezer burn.
Stay safe.
Now let's talk about the real start of the game, the beginnings of a genre-defining franchise, that first ever time we entered into the shoes of our badass cyborg hero, the Master Chief. Being that this was an early example of a first-person shooter on a twin-stick controller, Bungie smartly recognized the need for a tutorial, and what they created here is just fantastic for a first-time player. Gives you everything you need to know right off the rip: the health bar, the movement and lock-on aiming, and most importantly, the recharging energy shield. However, while perfect for a first-time player, this tutorial does have a rather fatal flaw. It's long and frankly quite boring.
Stand on the red square, please.
Bungie smartly realized this problem as well, especially for repeat playthroughs. And so they added a quote-unquote fast setup, where if you're on heroic or legendary, it skips this whole tutorial and puts you right into the action. But what if I told you this fast setup was not quite the original plan? What if I told you they were going to let you skip the tutorial manually? As it turns out, there's a couple unused trigger volumes in this cryo chamber called Tutorial Skip 1 and Tutorial Skip 2, both of which just so happen to be placed at the two exit doors. Couldn't have been more clear if they tried. We can infer from the name and placement of these triggers that the player could simply walk to a door at any time and perhaps press a button to skip this tutorial. For the restoration, I implemented this exact mechanism, except in two parts. That first part of the tutorial, where you're just stuck in the cryotube, you can now just get out at any point per a HUD prompt and skip the whole looking around and health introduction. Then the second part of this tutorial skip uses the actual skip triggers that were left behind by Bungie. At any point between...
We're going to pause for a few minutes. Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. Just once you unpause, make sure to bring the bring the video bar thingamabob all the way to the end, so we're still up to date.
Between the red square and the yellow square, you can just leave. Just go to the exit doors and press the interact button.
Bridge to Cryo 2, this is Captain Key. Send the Master Chief to the bridge immediately.
This will also deactivate the other tutorials throughout the level, such as the motion tracker section. Gotta keep the speedrunners happy, right? Fucking die, you bitch! Die! Before moving on from this tutorial...
Who has also have tried to... who has also tried to kill the Arbiter, even though he was friendly, and he was our player 2 in Halo 3.
Section, we do also have a cut piece of dialogue. When Tom, our lovable crewman champion, gets that call from Captain Keyes, he tries to explain that there's more diagnostics that need to be run.
Bridge to Cryo 2, this is Captain Key. Send the Master Chief to the bridge immediately.
Captain, we'll have to skip the weapons diagnostics and
double, crewman.
But is cut off before he can finish his thought. Turns out, in the sound files, Tom was going to say just a little bit more before being cut off completely.
Captain, we'll have to skip the weapons diagnostics and I don't think we... Aye, aye, sir.
Likely, he's just trying to tell Keyes that he doesn't think skipping the weapons diagnostics is a good idea, considering weapons are kind of important to a super soldier. Literally, his whole purpose. Quelling rebellions.
Yeah.
Sort of convenient the Covenant just happened to show up. Moving on past our little how-to, it's now time for Total Carnage.
Yeah.
Round 1, fight.
After the initial tutorial section where Sam gets gunned down by the imposter, Tom will immediately run towards the exit. It's here that he shouts,
"This way!"
Except similar to before, this is only half of the original recording. What he's actually supposed to say is,
"Come on, this way!"
Then of course he runs down the hall and gets absolutely destroyed. And he wasn't even wearing a red shirt. It's here where we have an unused chapter title called Total Carnage. Serious question, is this another marathon reference? Looking at this a little further, it's also quite clear why it was cut. After Tom gets obliterated, this is when the jump tutorial begins. However, if there's a chapter title currently playing out, this jump button pop-up does not appear until after the black bars recede. Now us seasoned gamers surely know how to jump at this point, but I don't know, maybe we had some playtesters from the Neolithic era, you know, just banging rocks together. Moving further along, we are then greeted with the real carnage. Let's first take a look at the room to our right. This is the one directly across from the crouch tutorial. In retail, this room is a complete mess with fire and steam pipes and explosions everywhere. As cool as this room looks, however, it's completely inaccessible to the player. The bulkhead leading into it immediately starts closing when you enter this area, and even if you get to it before it fully shuts, there's an invisible barrier that holds you back. But this wasn't always the case. We actually have an unused piece of scripting called Mission Blam Burn. This function was going to do two specific things.
Why not search up the Halo Cutting Room Floor website? Honestly, I do understand. However, here's a little bit of a blitz lore. During grade school, I was made to pretty much like during like a reading, not reading exam, like reading tests, we were made to pretty much do like hey, how much of this passage can you read in under a minute, getting all the words correct and stuff like that. Here's the thing, I can read, but the way that the school curriculum set up like these reading tests was pretty much I had to speed read aloud. And that was a struggle for me. It was such a struggle, even with an IEP, as an IEP student. I just looked at my teacher and said, is this really the most accurate way to gauge how if a student can read? Isn't there another way? Here's the thing, they didn't care. We didn't have audio clips or audiobooks back then. We had to read. And if there's a word we didn't recognize, we just had to guess, and hopefully we get that word, we pronounce the word correctly, and hopefully we don't skip any words. Me being ADHD and having reading difficulties, it is more than safe to say I struggle with reading aloud, pretty much. I struggle with reading aloud. And it's pretty much, it is a miracle that I finished high school reading at a grade 7 level. And that's 4 levels below what I'm supposed to be at, where I'm supposed to be at. So if I was doing that badly back then, we were no Gen Alpha can't even read a paragraph. They have to read like short scripts. The school curriculum just got worse. It just kept on getting worse. I mean, it kept on getting worse as like I grew up. To the point that I only took pre-algebra 1 and 2. I thought I was gonna take regular algebra, but no, they just put me straight into geometry for like senior year, and I struggled with that so much. I barely passed with a D minus. Here's the thing: I excelled at algebra. However, when it comes to geometry, I just struggle. I also struggle with geometry dash, so like those two go hand in hand. Stares and blinks. Yeah, that's how my school went about it, pretty much. Even I was in IP class, the IEP program for kids with learning disabilities. And they somehow fucked up the test for that. They somehow made it. This is supposed to be a test for like neurodivergent people, neurodivergent community. And they somehow expected us to read it just like if it was for neurotypicals. Like I even pretty much said to me too, like, how do you expect me to read at a 12th grade level if all you expect to do is to guess if I'm understanding anything correctly? Like, isn't there a better way? Unfortunately, they chose an even worse way. It's like, oh, just read a few scripts. Just read this short script. And these people, and guess what? Colleges are trying to get their acceptance entrance entrance quota, keep their entrance quota up. So people are each year, people who are more stupid people are entering colleges, and professors like, why the fuck are we doing this? Given the fact that I struggled with even an IEP accommodating reading and learning disability test. They somehow made the test not ideal, even for me. So yeah, I had to struggle with that for like my entire academic career.
First, there'd be this massive explosion launching.
So I can read to myself, but when I start reading aloud, that's when I struggle, stutter, and mess up on my words.
Yet another unlucky crewman. Perhaps this was meant to act as some bait, because the second thing this Mission Blam-Burn script was going to do is this same exact thing, except to you instead. Yeah, it's a trap. If you make it past these blast doors before the doors close completely, the game gives you a really cool, unique death. But get this, it's not the only trap room they scripted. A little down the hall, there's a similar series of blast doors with a smoky pipe and yet another unlucky crewman. In this area behind the blast door, Bungie scripted another trap. In this case, Containment 1 trap, and it's just as cool.
Whoa.
Guessing they just ran out of time to finish this proper because it did take some work on my part to get it fully up and running.
Ooh,
Next up, we have some more unused dialogue lines, this time from 1749. Halo CE version 1749 is a beta build from around 2 months before the final release. It's unfinished as all hell, but it does contain a lot of cool nuggets. Everything from encounters to models to dialogue, of which is what brings us to our favorite Australian Marine, Chips Dubbo.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me. Captain Keyes is waiting for us, sir.
This is not the only variation of this dialogue that was recorded, however. In 1749, this dialogue line instead came from Mendoza.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
And then, rather strangely, later on, the second line would come from Fitzgerald.
Captain Keyes is waiting for us, sir.
I'm guessing other variations were recorded for this Marine as well, across all the different Marine voice actors. But unfortunately, I could only find these two in 1749.
Honestly, all this is interesting.
Which don't even come from the same actor. Now I'd like to talk about Cortana for a second. As part of this initial dash to the bridge, if you pay close attention to the intercom, you'll notice the occasional quip from Cortana.
Covenant boarding craft detected on port decks 4, 5, 7, 8, and 11.
What I found while researching this video is that there's a ridiculous amount of Cortana intercom dialogue that would randomly play during this segment, which is honestly surprising. This initial segment where you're making your way towards the bridge, it's really not that long. It's only around a minute or two's worth of rooms total. After making it to the bridge, you then get Cortana inserted into your skull, which means Captain Keyes then takes over the intercom. So all this flavor dialogue Cortana delivers over the intercom, you won't even hear the vast majority of it. Unless you plan to stand around for a really long time, like 20 to 40 minutes. And I'm not kidding. I reckon this implies that this initial scramble to the bridge, it was originally going to be a much longer segment. Or maybe Bungie was just covering their bases and had Jen Taylor record a whole bunch of dialogue just in case they needed it. I'm not going to play every single one of Cortana's intercom dialogue because there's honestly just so much. But I'll have a link down below with all the voice lines extracted if you wanted to hear them all for yourself. Or you can just stand around and wait. You could do that. And next up, we have the bridge, where Master Chief finally meets up with our favorite captain, and he gets that all too familiar voice in his head. For this cutscene, we do have an unused animation and some dialogue that was cut. First, the animation. After Cortana explains that her subroutines will handle the ship's autopilot, and Keyes absolutely should not, under any circumstances, take manual control of the ship. Spoiler alert, he does anyway. It turns out Keyes has an unused animation here. He was originally supposed to nod along with Cortana's suggestion. Here's how it looks in context.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Now for the cut dialogue. Back in the 1749 beta, this cutscene played out relatively the same. Definitely unfinished, but the bones are there. What's interesting about this version is the different dialogue takes. For example, here's the ones after getting hit by the antimatter charge.
Report!
Fire control for the main cannon is offline. Nothing of consequence hit us before the detonation. It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Hull breach! Hull breach on decks 11 and 12!
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
It's rather easy to tell why this version of the dialogue was changed. The delivery on these lines just falls so flat. I mean, just compare it to the final version.
Report!
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Ma'am, fire control for the main cannon is offline!
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
Much more interesting. There's urgency, emotion. That's not all though. We also have some cut lines at the end of the beta cutscene. Instead of Keyes saying, "Good luck, Master Chief," like he does in retail, over in 1749, he instead says, "I'll see you on the surface." And then we have a somewhat brutal insult from Cortana after being inserted into Chief's head for the very first time. Instead of this line from retail,
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
She says this line.
Funny. I remember more empty space.
Now, as for what I restored here in particular, firstly, it didn't make sense to restore Cortana's lines from 1749 about the antimatter charge, because again, they just fell flat. However, there is one line here I can find a use for, in particular, this one.
Hull breach!
Hull breach on decks 11 and 12!
I took this line and reused it for an upcoming section. As for the very end of this cutscene, I did restore the surface line.
I'll see you on the surface.
And also Cortana's insult.
Funny. I remember more empty space.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Before moving on to our next epic thing, there is one more interesting bit
Here's a
about
good
Keyes
girl.
after the cutscene ends. As he's handing over that infamously unloaded pistol, there's cut scripting for having his pipe in his mouth while he does so, which is kind of charming to be honest. And while we're on the topic of less than loaded pistols, this brings us to our next piece of cut content. So, in retail, Keyes hands you that pistol and tells you it's unloaded.
I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
But then you walk down the hall a little bit and, well no, you see it's definitely loaded. It even has some bullets that were already fired from the chamber. Like Keyes literally shot this fucking thing and then just forgot about it apparently. Here's the thing though. The awkwardness of this whole scene, it's because it wasn't originally scripted this way. Let's instead compare this to how you get the pistol in 1749. In this build, there is no pistol handoff. The cutscene just ends and that's it. Well, now the question is, how did we get a pistol in this build? Well, if you walk down that very same hallway, you'll instead see a crewman fighting off some grunts by the entrance. And that crewman is of course holding a pistol. And that's how you got your pistol in the beta build. No Schrodinger's pistol, no gaslighting, just yet another unlucky crewman. Everyone I've ever talked to about this is just as confused as I am as to why it was cut. It's a much more natural way to acquire your first weapon. For the restoration, I absolutely wanted to incorporate this very idea. So after Keyes hands you his pistol, it's now immediately equipped, and like he said, it is indeed unloaded. Then after giving him a fist bump,
What the hell are you doing?
and then walking down the hall towards the cafeteria, you'd see that very same crewman from the beta running out of the entrance hallway with those same grunts pursuing him. And after he once again meets his tragic end, he will then drop his very much loaded pistol on the ground, providing you with that much needed ammo. It's also here that I incorporated that unused hull breach dialogue.
Hull breach on decks 11 and 12!
Fit here rather nicely. Before moving on, I do have a couple more things to say about this bridge section. First, I want to talk about the intercom again. As I mentioned previously, once Cortana is in Chief's head, the intercom then switches over to Captain Keyes.
Reserve combat teams on decks 5 through 9.
Turns out there's a couple pieces of cut dialogue here.
All remaining combat teams, pull out and abandon ship. All hands, this is your captain. Any remaining personnel to the lifeboats immediately. Abandon ship. I repeat. Abandon ship.
I restored the first line to be played along with Keyes' other flavor intercom lines, but for the second, given how dark it is, I instead opted to have it play after moving past the cryo return section.
All hands, this is your captain. Any remaining personnel to the lifeboats immediately. Abandon ship. I repeat. Abandon ship.
It's towards the end of the level, so it makes the most sense here given how the Covenant have practically taken over at this point. And finally for this section, while not cut content, it's still something I want to mention. And that is the Meg Easter egg. Behind two locked doors in the bridge lies a hidden room. There's nothing particularly special about this room at first glance, that is, until you look up at the ceiling. You'll see an M spelled out with bullet holes surrounded by blood that I guess is supposed to be in the shape of a heart? You can kinda see it if you squint your eyes. This Easter egg was placed here by the developer Jamie Grieschmer as a gift for his girlfriend at the time. Here's how to find it. First, start up the level on legendary difficulty, then immediately turn around and jump on top of these barrels in the back of the cryo chamber. You'll have to stay on top of these barrels for around 10 seconds. Then simply go to the bridge as you normally would. After getting your trusty pistol, walk back and shoot Captain Keyes in the face.
What the hell are you doing?
Upon doing so, the first of the two locked doors in the bridge will then open, revealing an unkillable squad of very upset Marines. Now make your way towards the room they came from. If you did all the prior steps correctly, this second locked door will instead be open. And this is the secret Meg room. Just check out the ceiling and you'll find the Easter egg. Apparently this was intentionally convoluted. It was only found because Jamie started leaving hints on old forum boards. And now we press on all the way to the lifeboat section. This is where we see a few of them fire off into space, unfortunately without us on them.
Destroying the life pods.
But probably for the best. It's here where we have yet another piece of cut dialogue.
We just lost a life pod.
Maybe it's just as well that we missed that one.
Can't argue with that. I couldn't find a good place in this immediate area to actually play this unused line. It's already quite busy with all the other dialogue.
Destroying the life pods. They really don't want us on that ring.
Probably why it was cut to begin with. So I instead had this line play much earlier as part of Cortana's other flavor dialogue. In particular, the hallway after you encounter your first airlock.
We just lost a life pod.
Maybe it's just as well that we missed that one.
I found this to be a pretty good spot. Next up for this lifeboat section, we have an unused room. Walking down the hall past the windows, you come face to face with a locked door. The intention is for you to instead turn left and walk down to the actual lifeboats instead. Except in the 1749 beta, this wasn't exactly the case. This door was instead open, and there'd even be some grunts waiting around behind it. There's no actual point to this, however. This hallway is just a dead end. For the restoration, I didn't want to just copy and paste this exact setup. There's no payoff, no reason for going this way. I wanted to combine this room with another 1749 cut concept to create something a little fun. So I added a shotgun. Yeah, so in 1749, the shotgun appears much earlier than it does in the final build. It was instead the flamethrower that was going to be introduced in 343 Guilty Spark, not the shotgun. When the flamethrower was cut, the shotgun simply took its place and was removed from the earlier levels. I've been consistently surprised by how well the shotgun works as a weapon in the early game, which makes sense. It was the original intention. Combining this early game shotgun with the cut room full of grunts leads to this scene. Down the hallway by the now unlocked door, you'll see a couple grunts huddled over one of our fallen Marine allies. And that Marine is holding a shotgun. You're about halfway through the level at this point, so giving you a shiny new toy works wonderfully. Next up for this section, I want to highlight another subtle dialogue difference from 1749. After making your way down the hall with the lifeboats, the door starts closing behind you.
Warning, blast doors closing.
We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Follow the nav point, it will lead you to an opening.
This is the retail version of Cortana's dialogue. However, the 1749 version is slightly different.
Warning, blast doors closing. We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Head here.
I assume they changed it because they wanted to make sure the nav point system was specifically highlighted for the player. And now, I'm going to drag you, kicking and screaming, into the void. And that's because there's some random shit floating around out here. In particular, another lifeboat door. Very interesting. I'm guessing this hints that the hallway here was originally going to be much longer, and instead of some wall here, it'd be some window or partially closed door where all you can really do is look onwards before heading to the maintenance tunnels. I am planning to extend this at some point soon for the restoration, along with some fun stuff for Truth and Reconciliation, so coming soon. And finally, for this section, we have the motion sensor tutorial. In retail, after heading into the maintenance tunnels, if you're on easy or normal, you get a little how-to on a brand new tool.
I'm detecting Covenant movement outside the access ways. Activating motion tracker. Let's find a safe exit.
This tutorial though, honestly, it isn't that good. There's 3 exits you can see in this tunnel, 2 of which are locked up tight, and the correct one you can see all the way down the hall. You can tell because it's green. How this section is supposed to work is you walk up to each of these doors and Cortana gives you some dialogue on whether it's safe or not.
They're right on top of us. Let's find another way through.
The idea here is to use the motion sensor to figure out which exit has no enemies near it.
We're too close. We need to find another route.
But this has always struck me as extremely janky.
Motion tracker shows all clear.
In fact, most players probably just beeline towards the big glowing green door and don't really engage with any of this. Hell, most of you probably didn't even know you could walk up to the locked doors and get some dialogue. I sure as hell didn't. The reason this section is so weird and confusing is because it wasn't originally scripted this way. First off, the motion sensor itself was supposed to blink, presumably to clue you in that it's useful for this section. I'm guessing this was cut because the blinking frankly doesn't look very good and is just too distracting. Secondly, all the doors in the tunnel were supposed to be locked, even the one you're supposed to go through. This was the case in the 1749 beta. You had to actually walk up to the safe door in order for it to then open. However, this was likely extremely confusing. A locked door is a locked door. Why would you ever assume otherwise? But for the restoration, this was easily fixed by just placing some nav markers over the locked doors. This hopefully prompts the player that they have to walk up to them and investigate. Regardless, even with these changes, I still don't think this is a particularly good tutorial for what is probably the most useful tool at your disposal. I just think it ultimately misses the mark, unfortunately. Now let's move on to our final pieces of this cut content puzzle, the ending. First, let's talk about enemies. One of the very last encounters in the game, Containment 3 Anti, contains a squad called Jackal 3. However, despite this interesting name, it's set to just spawn some grunts instead. In other words, they were originally jackals, but they changed it to grunts at some point in development, which I suspect was done because they wanted the next level Halo to be the one to introduce this new enemy type and leave the Pillar of Autumn as a simpler, more stripped down tutorial level. And finally, I have a small piece of the ending cutscene to show you. This is the one where Chief throws a Marine onto the life pod and there's explosions and it's all cool and Keyes didn't listen to Cortana. Anyway, this final cutscene has a cut camera angle that I kinda like. In retail, after shooting out of the ship, the camera pans with the lifeboat, but always staying in front of it. The cut camera angle, however, pans to the side. It's a simple thing, but I don't know, I kinda like it. And that's it. That's the cut content in the Pillar of Autumn. And man, was it fun to dig into this one. It wasn't quite as grandiose as levels like Two Betrayals, but the smaller scale felt more personal here. The cutscenes, the dialogue, the cool Easter eggs littered throughout. In a lot of ways, it's more fun to see. As a reminder, everything I just showed you is fully playable on both the Steam Workshop and also up on Nexus Mods if you prefer to make your own avocado toast. I'll have the links in the description and also in a pinned comment.
Nice.
It's literally a few days later, they're deciding to jack up them PlayStations again. I think this is probably the worst generation of PlayStation that I've actually seen. You know, we started in 2020, you know, during the whole pandemic thinking, all right, you know what? New PlayStations are coming out. Things were kind of expensive back then. You know, I believe the PlayStation launched at like $500, like flat. And now if we look at the actual price for it, $649.
Damn.
American. Now, of course, if you buy that digital edition without the disc, that's about $600 now. The Pro, $900 now in the United States. Now, I want to just show you how bad things can end up actually being. So, if you live in Canada land like me, this is what a PlayStation 5 Pro costs. Apparently, it's selling fast because it's currently $959 Canadian. Almost $1,000, by the way. Actually, a fucking $1,000. You know, because you gotta pay taxes on this bitch. It's not like you can cheat the tax man. Okay, you have to do that. Now, if you do the price hikes and you actually calculate the price for it, I guess we're looking at about 1,200 Canadian dollars. That's the
Jesus
900
Christ.
US converted to the Canadian dollars. And again, that's pre-tax, bitch, because you can't cheat the tax man, okay? The tax person is like the mafia. If they want your money, they're gonna get your money.
Honestly, that is not worth it whatsoever. To be honest, might as well just go with emulation. Or just pretty much PC games.
Okay, simple as that. Now, of course, you know, obviously, there's got to be a reason for this, Muda, and there is. Okay, so with continued pressures in the global economic landscape, shit's fucked these days, okay? It is. They're not joking at Sony. You know, I was out there driving, and you know what's funny? If you look at gas prices, so in Canada, the average gas price is like $1.65 where I live per liter. Now, Americans would probably be like, whoa, that looks cheap. No. A liter, okay? I think there's like, what, 3.75 liters to a gallon? So when you do the actual price conversion, it's like $4.50 American, okay?
Jesus Christ.
Mind you, this is $1.65, I believe. Is this with the taxes or not? What doesn't matter? It's expensive, okay? It's pricey. It's a lot of fucking money. So yeah, obviously I can understand what PlayStation's saying. We've made the decision to increase the prices of the PlayStation 5, the Pro, and the PlayStation Portal. The tablet with the controller on the side. Oh man, even that's going up. We know that price changes impact our community. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. After careful examination, we found this was a necessary step to ensure we can continue delivering innovative, high-quality gaming experiences to the players. Now, I think it's hilarious coming from companies this generation where it feels like more layoffs, more shit has been shut down. The whole remake, remaster culture surrounding video games has exacerbated to the point that it really honestly feels like we're not getting as much new gaming experiences compared to what we probably would have gotten with a similar generation in a similar time span. That's not to say gaming sucks. I think really what I'm trying to say here is the reason to purchase a fucking PlayStation or an Xbox or really any console has dramatically dropped to the point that
Hi, Alkimpa. How are you? Sorry for I didn't see your comment. I didn't see your comment. I had it tabbed out. Sorry about that. Hello.
because there's really no reason, right? There's really no reason to lock yourself into a vendor like PlayStation, who, by the way, charges you money to even play some of your multiplayer games online. Like, you buy a game like
Which is
Battlefield,
fucked.
bitch, you better be buying the subscription service to even play that game online. You want to play some classic video games? You can't just stick one of your old PlayStation 2 discs and download an emulated version off their platform, or even use an on-device emulator. You might have to consider paying them extra money on top of your monthly subscription to even stream classic games, to stream their Game Pass-like equivalent experiences. I mean, we're at a point where these systems, which I believe kind of started off with the business model of we'll take the loss on the hardware, and maybe they are kind of still taking the loss on the hardware if you look at the actual prices, but then we're going to make up the money with gaming experiences, maybe subscription fees, and that's pretty much what it comes down to. So I looked at gaming computers with like my local store, Canada Computers, that I go to for pretty much most of my computer needs. Some people think that I'm like sponsored by them. I'm not. I literally just use this computer store. It's either this, it's either Newegg, it's either Memory Express, or whatever other Canadian vendor you have, okay? The point is, no matter who you go to for computer hardware, okay, you're basically spreading your ass cheeks because you are getting financially fisted. But I looked at the pre-built gaming computers, and you know, for like $1,099, you're getting a Ryzen 7 5700 and RTX 3050, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that's like, wait, what's the difference between the open box and the regular? Why is it the same price? Wasn't the open box supposed to be cheaper because it was open? But again, obviously for a gaming computer that you probably actually want to get, right? You know, you're looking at prices at around like $1,600, $1,700. And you know, to be honest with you, like comparing this to like a PlayStation, I would still actually consider this to be a better deal because you can actually do a lot more with a gaming computer versus like a $1,000 box that literally can only just play video games. That's one of the things that I kind of don't like about modern gaming systems, simply because I feel like the actual value purpose for it isn't necessarily there. You know, I skipped out like a couple weeks ago talking about something called Project Helix, where Microsoft was making their next generation of Xboxes, but they were also making these kind of like hybrid computers and gaming consoles where if you wanted to install Windows on this and use it as an actual gaming computer, you apparently can. And honestly, like, even though that this is also probably going to be expensive, because again, you have to understand the actual cost of the parts that are required to produce these gaming consoles have jumped up. And again, it's no joke. If you look at the actual cost for some of these RAM prices, like a DDR4 stick, 2x16 gigabytes of RAM, you know, if you look at the Canadian prices back in June 2025, you were looking at somewhere around like $100 to like $120. That same stick, that same kit has jumped up to the point where it's now above $400, okay?
Jesus
4 times
Christ.
basic price increase. So I can understand why PlayStation has decided to jack up prices. In fact, I'm not going to deny
I
it.
understand
would
why.
probably have expected, based on this graph, that it might jump even higher. But that's unfortunately the goddamn reality, okay? Xbox is not immune to it either. That Xbox Helix, whenever it's going to come out, is also going to be pricey. The other device that I'm kind of interested in was the Steam machine, just to buy and maybe stick it underneath like a television to have like an actual like gaming PC console underneath it. Even that, I expect the Steam machine to probably cost the same as the PlayStation 5 Pro, if not, maybe even a little bit more, because that's just where things are kind of at. You know, I was looking at even game prices too, right? Like, even games like Pokemon Pokopia, which I'm not particularly interested in, but I saw everyone giving it like rave reviews. In Canada, that $70 like American just goes to like 99 Canadian, pre-tax by the way. because the tax man's still gonna want their fucking cut, okay? They're like the mafia. It's like Tony Soprano. If he comes in knocking for that money, you better give him that money. You know what I mean? But that's already up there for $100. Like, I don't know if you've been following this too, but even Netflix, Netflix, who, by the way, has had probably the worst content drop that I've ever seen in regards to any streaming platform, has decided to jump their prices up just a little bit more, maybe by like $1 or $2 across every plan, but it's still like $1, you know? It's like it's like boiling the frog. You raise it a little bit, just a little. Maybe people don't notice. Maybe people are too lazy to fucking get out of there and quit their streaming service. But yeah, everything across the board, not just gaming, has kind of risen up to a point where I just don't see how sustainable any of this market is. You know, going back to things like PlayStation, when I look at things like PlayStation 5 only video games, there are only 23 titles that apparently have just been recorded. And again, this is just Wikipedia, but you can see right over here that games like Astrobot, you know, it's probably the only game worth getting over there. Playroom, I'm not going to count, that comes with the actual system, and it's mostly just a tech demo game anyways. You've got games like Demon Souls 2020, which again is a pure remake. You could probably just play the original PlayStation 3 version in a fucking emulator and get the same effect, the same thrill out of it. Games like Destruction All-Stars, which I believe is just a live service game. I don't even know if that's even alive. Ghosts of 𝘂𝙬, God of War Sons of Sparta, God of War Trilogy, not out by the way, Intergalactic, not out by the way, Marvel's Wolverine, not out yet by the way,
Right.
and of course the further you go down over here you can see that games like Saros, which is just Returnal extended again, and then of course The Wind's Rising. So you have to look at this and think, is this a good library of games to go down into and purchase an entire system? Or maybe is it time that, you know, PC gaming, which used to be generally more expensive, and I'm not going to deny it still is more expensive, but I feel like with these new prices for the PlayStation, at what point is looking at a PlayStation for $650 when you have to factor in that every single game that comes out of here is going to also cost you like a full $60, $70 as well too. And now they've started allegedly doing like regional pricing. So they're trying to optimize how much money that they can gouge out of you. Then you have to pay for subscription services to play online, or maybe even do some fucking backwards compatibility, which by the way, can I just say how much of a scam it is with modern commercial backwards compatibility?
Exactly.
When you've got projects like Shad PS4, literally, I'm showing you right here on my actual screen. You can install games like Bloodborne right here, hit play, and you can play these games basically up to 60 frames per second on a modern computer. Actually, you know what's even funnier? You can even emulate this thing on the Steam Deck, for crying out loud. Some of these emulators have gotten that performant. Now, of course, you could play Bloodborne on a PlayStation 5, but I mean, if you want to rock it up to 60 frames, you know, you can't even just go into your console settings and modify stuff, or even find a way to hack that in. A lot of these consoles come basically as gimped computers anyway, so if you're going to spend that kind of money anyways, if you're going to put shit on Klarna, you might as well put something that has more capability on Klarna and call it a day, which is one of the reasons why, like, I think at this point, you know, if anybody's going to recommend things like gaming, you might as well just recommend them a PC, because at least with PC, you get everything across the board coming to it. Literally the only game, the only product on PlayStation that I think actually matters to me right now, this year, is Grand Theft Auto 6. If GTA 6 was dropping on Steam day one, I probably would just buy that game on PC day one anyways. Because even when it comes to PlayStation, a disturbing trend that I've started to see even on PlayStation, and it was kind of on there, was something that I saw with Crimson Desert recently, which is the reason why I bought the game on PC. Normally I buy a lot of my games on physical disc because I like to own the 1.0 versions, but even looking at PlayStation, they basically had a pretty big budget release come out without being completely on the disc anyways. And, you know, when I start to look at other games too, especially from, you know, manufacturers like Xbox or Microsoft release similar broken builds, one of the things does have me kind of worried is that in the future down the road, maybe even Sony's going to go out of their way and try to phase out physical media even further. And honestly, if they do that, you know, if they really get away with that, then sticking to the PC is basically the only, you know, platform that I can really promote, because if you're not going to be able to physically own your titles, but you're getting all the downsides of digital ownership, especially when it comes to these consoles like Xbox or PlayStation and even the Switch, you might as well, again, I'm not even joking, strictly switch over to the PC at this point.
Honestly, might as well.
This is probably one of the most harrowing things I've seen. Usually by now, gaming consoles are supposed to get cheaper, right? It's funny, like at this point, 6 years into the lifespan, you know, if you were looking back in the days of the PlayStation 2, it'd be like, hey, the PS2 Slim dropped with a price drop, and it actually, you know, is great. You know, by this point, the PlayStation 3 Slim would be out. The PlayStation 3 Super Slim would be out. By this point, the PlayStation 4 Slim comes out. And again, the PlayStation 5, I think Slim does exist, but the prices have...
I got Xbox Series S back, and GPUs costed in a leg. Now they're costing... Now these prices are pretty much costing half your entire body. Soon it'll be costing your entire life. So yeah. Luckily I got my PC when I did. Unfortunately, it's still a bit pricey. But this is before all the price hikes and stuff like that. So pretty much, it cost around $850. And plus 200 for the 64 gigabyte memory upgrade. So we spent a total of I spent $1,000 on this. So really decent specs for a game PC. But yeah, it costs way too much for a PC now. You get pretty much, you have to be a top tier A grade scavenger for like eBay, Craigslist, and stuff like that, so you can build like a decent PC as cheap as possible. It's still gonna be expensive, but yeah.
Just generally raised, and there's really not much of a reason, I think, to go out and actually get these devices. You know, I understand why PlayStation raised it. I get it. They're a fucking business, and everything is expensive across the board. You know, and I can understand why Microsoft decides to raise Xbox prices. But when we're getting to a point where console prices have reached $1,000, it's getting really tough to recommend this to anybody out there, you know? And I think the amount of people that are just jumping at the bit to buy these things before the price hike on April 2nd, maybe it's coordinated by Sony. Maybe they want to just sell some product. But honestly, that's a conspiracy theory too far to even entertain.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, shit's getting fucking expensive. Way too expensive. And it's just a shame to see, like, gaming is obviously one of the victims to it because, you know, we're in this technological index where AI bubbles and, you know, constant, like, AI tech bros. You know, it used to be the crypto bros made graphic cards really expensive, but now the AI companies have made every single product expensive. I was reading the other day that even processor shortages are about to be a thing. So you've got RAM shortages, SSD prices through the fucking roof, GPUs are effectively non-existent, you know, in terms of actual innovation anymore. And now we're getting to the point where even the processors that we're using, even they're all being targeted.
Processors? Like, the actual cores? Oh my god, Jesus fuck. Literally, the literal cores within the CPU, GPU, and RAM, and a little bit in the RAM, but not that much. Yeah, including the RAM, but like, what the fuck?
So I understand why PlayStation did it. Unfortunately, the price hike makes it so that recommending to buy it is just no, like not happening at all. PlayStation, everything is getting fucking expensive. It's just it's the unfortunate reality we're in. But anyways, I think $900 MSRP for a PlayStation 5 Pro USD, by the way, is laughably the stupidest thing that I've fucking seen. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of wanted to talk about it because what's happening, man? What's happening? You know?
Yeah, what is actually happening?
I am out.
And Jesus fuck. Also, we're gonna end off watching this one here. It's the Mission to the Sun Part 3 by Solar Balls.
Previously on Solar Balls, Astrodude heads into the sun to...
Oh. There you go. It is a Mission to the Sun Part 3 by Solar Balls.
Previously on Solar Balls, Astrodude heads into the sun to convince him to fix things with the solar system. However, the Earth and Moon realize just how dangerous this mission really is.
0.72 astronomical units from the sun, or around the distance of Venus's orbit. Ugh! Why is it getting so hot already?
Because we're receiving 90% more sunlight.
Hold on, we're experiencing almost double solar...
Alright, there we go.
intensity after only 0.3 astronomical units?
Yep, just wait until we reach Mercury's orbit.
When will that be?
At 0.38 astronomical units.
Will it be triple the solar intensity? Quadruple?
7 times, Astrodude.
7 times? How?
In space, energy does not increase linearly, Astrodude. Instead, it follows the inverse square law.
Let's pretend I forgot everything I studied for my STEM exam.
If you reduce the distance to the sun by half, the energy doesn't double, it quadruples.
Oh. Ahem. Son! It's me, Astrodude! We need to talk, but I'd rather do it from far, far away. Son? Can you hear me?
Go! Just go, okay? You're mean, you're disrespectful, and I want you to leave. Sorry, friend. You're powerless here. How does that feel, huh? You're not Mercury. Mercury's not like you. He doesn't laugh like that. Oh, son. You don't know who I am?
Astrodude! Astrodude, can you hear us? He must be pretty far by now. But I still don't get why traveling towards the sun will...
Luna, you don't travel towards the sun. You fall towards it.
Huh?
In space, there's no up and down. Instead, things fall towards whatever has the highest gravity.
Well, I know that.
So, if Astrodude is traveling towards the sun, which is over 99% of all the mass in the solar system, then he's falling towards the sun.
But he has his super futuristic ship and all.
Well, Earthlings have tried this in the past. In 2015, they sent a ship called Messenger towards Mercury. But the ship ran out of fuel trying to navigate the sun's gravitational perturbances, and it ended up crashing.
Oh. But again, he's Astrodude.
Luna, you don't get it! By Mercury's orbit, he won't only be dealing with 7 times the sunlight. He'll also be dealing with 7 times the sun's pull. Even with all his future technology, I doubt he'll have enough energy to return. He either crashes onto the sun, or gets stuck orbiting it and is literally cooked!
Oh, what have I done?
Oh shit.
What are you? Can't cross past this point, Luna. You have to reach Astrodude and save him.
Got it. Time for a gravitational slingshot, Earth.
Let's do it.
Let's go!
Any luck finding any celestial bodies?
Nope, nothing yet. Wait! I see one! It's... cool.
Hold on tight, Astrodude!
What's going on, computer?
You're experiencing gravitational perturbations, Astrodude.
I just tried to steer the ship a little.
Well, steering your ship now uses a lot more energy, since you're in freefall to the sun.
Wait, what?
Also, the ship hasn't fully healed from your mission to the center of the Earth, so we have some fuel leaking.
Computer, when were you gonna tell me any of this?
You didn't ask.
Son!
Why do you look like me? Ain't that the
lol.
question? Tell me, or I'm gonna.
Son, I need help.
Huh? Is that Astro Dude? That's right. Let's see what you can do for your little friend. Astro Dude, where are you?
Here.
You're too little. I can't. Why are you even here? Bora Bora too lame for you?
No, I wanted to chat. But now I'm, like, falling towards you, and my ship's not responding, and...
You wanted to chat? About what?
Can we talk after I'm not spiraling out of control? Help me!
I can't! You're too small to differentiate against the empty space, and if I use a gravitational wave, I might destroy you! I'm... powerless.
Why did I come here? Why do I always get myself in these situations?
It's
Oh,
in
no.
your nature.
Never again. If by some miracle I make it out of this alive, I promise I'm... Whoa!
Whoa!
Astro Dude, land on my surface now! Oh my gosh, thank you! Are you alive, Astro Dude? Yeah. Thanks for the save, Lou.
Care to explain all of this?
I just wanted to help.
You call this help? So irresponsible! And then you wonder why I treat you all like little kids! Now you go back to your orbit, and you'll never—
Hey, no.
Huh?
Son, this is not okay. Like, very far from it.
Don't talk about things you don't know, Astro Dude!
Things I don't know? Ha! Have you forgotten I'm a father? Son, I know how hard it is to keep your kids in check, to share your knowledge, to explain your wisdom, and for all of that to just be totally ignored.
Maybe you're not a good father.
Maybe. Or maybe that's just how it is. Maybe we're meant to feel powerless, and keep trying nonetheless. Listen, I care about the solar system. Please, let's fix this. I will help you. We will help you.
Okay.
Let's go!
Bye!
Honestly, based as fuck. Can't wait for the next episode of Solar Balls. Anywho, let's get the next scene here. Alrighty. Alright, chat. I just want to say pretty much. I had an exciting time. Playing the new Magpie game, and Sonic Dreams Collection is weird as fuck. I don't know if I'm touching that shit again. But I am planning out all the games and art streams for this upcoming week. And hopefully I won't have to take another week off because of a bunch of shit happening. Anywho, I just want to say thank you everyone for joining today's stream. My name is Brandon Blitz. I'm a variety streamer. I stream lots of video chat this week as well as draw art, and hopefully I'll be doing 3D modeling for everyone here. And that being said, I'm just pretty much going to be just relaxing and just eventually go to sleep. With that being said, I get good going with Blitzies. Bye bye, matinee.